2020 Craftology box tutorial. This month is such a fun Craftology box. You'll probably already have your box. I was just like getting my video up. But the first project you're going to see is on picture because it's Kim Reynolds, and it is on her YouTube channel, Kim Can't Stop Crafting, and that is all on your paperwork. And inside of inside the box is the cutting guide, and then you have two 12 by 12 sheets of chipboard and one 8.5 by 10, no, 8.5 by 11 that you use to create this. This box is so much fun. You can put your Uno cards, you can put notebooks, pencils, papers. So pencils will go here. These all come out, so it's a really fun, versatile little box. And then to go with the box is mine. And I want to tell you, this is also from a past Graphic 45 designer. That's where the original design came from. Then I changed it, modified it, and our own designer, Jennifer Palmer, she cut the sheets that you found inside of your Craftology box that look like this. And I'll be going through these with you in just a moment. In fact, I have to go grab the other package. Oh, I already did grab it, so it looks like this. Now, the fun thing about this little project, you also did get, you have clips. So the clips were made, oh, Kim does a board, so you can keep your scoreboard there. This can keep your book closed. You can use these as, I'll show you in just a moment, as clips to hold down your pages. But the ribbon that comes with it can be used as part of the closure. The only thing that you'll notice Kim and I did not use was the seam binding, because we have two other designers working on projects right now. And that's Lori Parker Thomas and Bobby Weaver and Kathy Lee. Well, Kathy Lee will be probably working on cards, so she'll use the seam binding. But you have these darling buttons inside of your Craftology box. And let me show you the back. So we'll be doing the lay flat binding, and you'll also have the pre-cut chipboard. You have the front and the back and the spine. Now on the inside, I'll only take out the left-hand side. These are made so that you can not only put photos, but you can also, of course, write on them. And they come in graduating sizes. Cutting guide is right here on your cutting guide. And I'll give those out as we go. But then again, I won't take this part yet. But you could definitely use these as a score sheet. Just add your own sheet of paper. And then on the backs, the colors are a little bit different because I'm using the coordinating solids, and I'll show those to you. One thing that I did different for the tutorial, but I'm definitely going to give you those measurements, is in this original one, I did keep those doubled. Now it makes it a little bit thicker. I did it just on these two pieces. And I'll give you those measurements as we go, but they're not on your cutting guide because it was kind of like a last minute, hey, that would be kind of cool to do. Oh no, I did. Sorry. I did give you those measurements and then to score them in half, but on the tutorial, I'm not doing them. It's the same measurements as if we don't, and I left the inside blank. So now you'll also end up with, how cute is that? That is this sheet right here, because I knew I did not want to ruin it, and I didn't want to have it cut up. It depends on if you're going to do my tutorial first or Kim's. Maybe you don't want to do mine. Maybe you don't want to do Kim's. But I want to show you. So after, if you're doing Kim's first, and I'm going to cut this down with you because Kim will be using the other half. So you'll have a 6 by 12 of your bingo cards left, which is our cover. So I do want to show you that. You're going to have the words. I love these words because it talks about a lot of cute things. And that's what I used on the spine and inside. Now for the back, you're going to have a full sheet of dominoes. And you will have the full sheet of your family night game card. So that's where I was like, oh, we got to use the game. We need to get this onto the inside so it looks really cool when you open it. Now, all of your 1-inch pieces, you can use that just from all your scraps. You'll have plenty left over of the little bits and pieces. And like I said, this is such a fun collection. And then I used the stickers. Whoops, upside down picture right here. Absolutely adorable. I use this family night cut apart. So you'll take it off of this piece. So when we're cutting our dominoes, for the back cover, I have the hiccups. You're going to want to make sure that whatever cut apart you choose, that you don't cut from that side, just to kind of get you started there. So to get started, I'm going to put these aside, and you'll want to take out your chipboard, and of course you'll have your cutting guide. And for those of you that need your pieces, you have 2 4 5/8 by 9 3/8 pieces. That's our front and back cover, and I have covered mine in chipboard. Then we have our spine that's been pre-cut for you, 1 1/4 by 9 3/8. And you need, and then we need, this is going to be our cardstock for the inside of our folio at 9 1/2 or 9 1/4 by 11 1/2. You know what? That doesn't look 9 1/4 to me, does it? Here we go. 9 1/4 by 11 1/2, 9 1/4 by 10 1/2. Obviously, I can't read my own instructions, or I didn't cut this correct. Kind of surprise, huh? So, it is wrong on your cutting guide. There's always got to be one mistake. So, 9 1/4 by 11 1/2. Actually, we're going to cross that off. We're going to measure when we're done. So, it should be between 10 1/4 by 11 1/4. We'll just see how well it fits. And I do want you to mark that right now. Okay? Now, the chipboard to wrap your cardstock, you're going to have 2 pieces that are 6 5/8 by 11 3/8. And then our spine piece, 3 1/4 by 11 3/8. When you open your package for your pages, Jennifer did such a great job drawing these for me. She is Jennifer Palmer on our design team, and she's super talented. She knows her Cricut. Let me tell you, all I have to do is say, can you make it? And she can make it. Like I said, this is a design inspiration, but it's such a fabulous design. And then one of our other designers, Brenda Crouch, had made it years ago. You want to just check that everything is cut apart and easily movable. Sometimes the machines didn't, well, it missed a few parts. Now, mine looks okay, but if yours doesn't, then take a box knife or something and just get right in that groove. Let me turn it over so I don't cut this because it's great. And just cut it open gently, or you can also just bend it and it should pop for you. And oh, let's not start with our pages. Let's start by wrapping our chipboard. Okay, with my 1-inch, so this is just lightweight chipboard, and I use it for my spacer now instead of my quilting ruler because this is just so much quicker. But you want to have an inch at the top, an inch at the bottom, or an inch at the bottom, however you like to wrap it. You can also just lay this down at the bottom if you're using a ruler, because we want an inch at the top, an inch at the bottom. But I just lay this into my scoreboard. Score taped it together, nothing really fancy, but hey, it's cheap, and when it wears out, I just make a new one. I've already put score tape sheets because I use score tape sheets, and I'll show you how I put score tape sheets on my chipboard when I do the spine. But if you're using your score tape, go ahead and cover your paper how you like. If you're using wet glue, I just can't get rid of these hiccups. If you're using a wet glue, you can go ahead and add that now. score tape sheets. If you're new to them, just don't let this go. Whatever it sticks to, it becomes almost permanent. And we're just going to sit this up in our corner. That is done. Now I can set that aside. We're going to do it with our second larger piece that's 6 5/8. And I had to piece this one because you can get 2 of these on your score tape sheet, sort of, but then you have to piece that side that is left, and you'll see when you're using it. But that way you don't waste any of your score tape sheet. And down that goes. And for the next piece, once again, I will grab my score tape sheet. And I'm having one of those times when I touch something, it disappears, and it's just driving me crazy. Do you ever have those times? I have another full sheet, but I'll have to find it before we get to the inside. So as you can see, this is not a full piece, but I do prefer full pieces. And it won't go to waste. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay this down. And I do this with my big pieces also. Using a cutting knife, whichever you prefer. Whatever I grab, basically. This is my Cricut one. It's a pretty nice little knife. I can put this back on the sheet, so don't ever throw these away. Now these are great too. If you have little ones with stickers, keep it the shiny side. They can put their stickers on there and reuse them. And you can also use your roll of score tape, whatever your preference is. But again, I don't throw that away. Just clean up our edge and we're done. Whoops, this way so I don't cut myself. And again, we still want that inch on each side. Away for now. So we're going to go ahead and start with our spine. If you've never made it this way, it is a little different. So I'm going to fold it over the chipboard. And fold again. So it kind of wrapped it, and then we're actually going to now fold backwards. The way this works, you kind of need to get it in to the habit already, and the fibers broke so that it moves nice and neat. Now, when you look at this, though, it's not that nice clean edge, so I take my bone folder, and you want one that's blunt, not sharp. And we're just going to clean that up. Like so. And now we're going to do the bending over our chipboard at the top and at the bottom. Oops. Making sure we're, there we go, right against there. Sorry, we do have some background noise today, or tonight. You might hear some feet walking, and we have grandkids running around. Scissors. See our corners? how you've created a square, you're just going to cut that top part off. Kind of looks like a spaceship, doesn't it? We're going to do the same now with this bottom. And that is now what that spine piece is supposed to look like. And you know, being a crafter, I'm really glad I have a case of diaper wipes because I've got them all dried out and ready to go. Heaven forbid. Okay, score tape. I have found score tape works really well in conjunction with the little bit of art glitter glue we're going to use on this. Ooh, just keep it about 1/8 of an inch from your spine. Leave a space where we're going to put a little bit of art glitter glue. And yes, I could have cut first, and this is just a habit I don't. I just cut, tape, and then clean up. Remove your backing if you're using score tape here. Now this isn't absolutely necessary. I just found it really works better when we adhere the paper to paper. Art glitter glue is going to go right there in the center on the chipboard. And make sure you push that chipboard right against there so that glue oozes out, and then you can just bend it down. And I like the blunt, so I use actually I use 3 different bone folders. And now you're going to push it against the edge of your chipboard because you want it to be nice and formed. Now we're going to repeat the cutting, but we're going to go through all layers, and you just want to put your scissors next to your chipboard. You can't go any further than that chipboard, and trim. Oops, I meant to go in my garbage can. Turn this over and repeat. If you don't want to wrap your album this way, you can lay it out. This is a really nice way to do your chipboard, especially on a folio, because on a folio, we're looking more for that lay flat. Look how flat this lays. Well, it doesn't with that there. It's flat, completely flat. I did it on our ocean blue, completely flat. And because of the way this is done, that gives us that flexibility. Our 2 covers are going to be the same. Two long sides and 2 short sides. See the squares? We're just going to cut them out, and I cut right to that chipboard. Now I'll fold over the long side, and any excess I'm just going to trim, but you want to keep that straight edge. As long as your scissors are pushed against your chipboard, you shouldn't cut it too short, because that's your stopper. Now I cut, you know, upside down here with the, because it's just easier. Now this is a good example. I have a tiny bit of it sticking over this line of chipboard, so you really want to clean that up, otherwise it will stick out the edge and it just won't look great. Score tape I do all around the chipboard and all around the black. It just, your score tape's the quick adhesion, and then it just makes it so it doesn't wrinkle. It lays down fast and it's stuck along with the glue. I don't get glue over my score tape though, otherwise it'll tend to loosen it because it's the water. Get the tape. Okay, start with the long side with my art glitter glue. See, that makes for a nice clean edge. The glue just grabs it and pulls it over the edge of your chipboard. You can use your hands also. Okay, let's move to the second one. See how quick and easy that is? So just push against your chipboard. Make sure it's right up against that edge. Cut the corners right up to your chipboard. Just cut those squares out. Now we're going to also fold each side, and we're going to miter those corners. Sorry. Grab a mint. I still have the hiccups. That's why I pause. Try a mint. See that sticking over the edge? Now it's not nice and smooth. Check before, we're good. score tape. You don't want those little pieces to get stuck in, so do clean up your work area. But you already know that. I don't need to tell you. My studio's in the basement. It goes through moments of being cold, being warm, being cold, being warm. It heats up fast, in other words. No, yeah, being cold, being warm, but it heats up fast, so we don't have to have that background noise of the heater anymore. See, I got some black in there. See that little piece that got stuck, and it will show. So just, there we go, get that out. Those little pieces are what will make a bump, and you don't want that in your cardstock. Now, for those of you who have the kit and you're wondering what size your pages are, you definitely can measure those, but I will give you those measurements here in just a minute when we get to that point. Move my scoreboard for now because we want to put this all together. Now, if you've made this type of cover with me, then you know we flip our bare side over. What's going to happen is it will attach to that wing. Now I'm staying an eighth of an inch away from where we took our bone folder and where the chipboard is, and adding my score tape to both sides. You just need a little space there. I think we got something in there again. Let me look. Guess not. This has just been the score tape cover. Now, to make this more permanent, just down the center, take your cover, and yes, I'm putting it right next to the edge. I have to tell you, you're going to be like, ah, this isn't, but as long as that pops up, you're fine. Turn it over and really burnish that side. And we're going to repeat now with the opposite side. Now you're going to notice mine's a little off because I did something really silly, actually dumb. I was doing the ocean blue and I grabbed one of the chipboards from the ocean blue and it was 1 1/4, but I didn't check the length. and it was the leftover, and I just grabbed it assuming and started this tutorial. So mine is going to look a little off, so I'm just going to make sure I match that side. That's what happens when you don't check your measurements and you're making 2 tutorials in one day, but it's not bad. Okay, once we're done there, I'm going to bend this side over. This was the first one, and just burnish it. And my black cardstock's picking up all the hitchhikers on my table. There is your lovely cover. Now sometimes it just depends what I'm doing, just to help it a little bit on those top corners. I do add my clothespins while I'm working on either the inside piece or something else. So that's where, remember, I have the sizing down wrong at 10 and a half, and I'm glad I didn't cut this, because now I know the right size is going to be 10 and a half. It looks like I'm going to leave it at 10 and a half. So the 2 I gave you in the beginning, completely wrong. But if you cut it at 10 and a quarter, you're still good too. It's a fine measurement. So I'm going to put down 10 and a half. So it can be 10 and a half or 10 and a quarter long. That's okay, but only 9 and a quarter wide. And I do want to cover, I'm covering mine in a score tape sheet, and that's that one score tape sheet I lost. So I'm going to grab another one, because I'll find it when I'm done. And if you're doing regular score tape, go along your 10 and a half inch or 10 and a quarter inch side, because you don't want it to fall in the seams and get wrinkled and smushed. So what I'm going to do is remove the backing. Try it however is easiest for you to use. And you will notice that it's not all the way, it's not wide enough, but also try and keep it, you know, a little bit on the inside of your cardstock, so you don't have anything sticking out the edge. And then using a knife or a blade, I'm going to use this one. Then using your hand to push it towards your blade. Just push it towards your blade to keep it nice and tight, and it'll be just fine. And you can just cut that off. I'll add that piece right there. The only piece I got off was this little tiny one. And then I'll just fill in the space with my 1/4 inch. And that will do us. For this, I do want to make sure it's burnished down well. I don't want it to tear my paper anyway. Let's check our sizing here. So 10 and a half, 10 and a quarter is going to be fine because we cover it. So it's not a big deal if it's in there shorter. So I have quite a bit sticking out. I'm going to take just a little bit off my edge so it looks better. I don't want score tape hanging over the edge. It looks kind of messy. All right. If you are new to the score tape sheets and you're nervous, you can just remove like that little bit and put it down and then reach up and pull under. if you're comfortable, and really I'm more comfortable doing it completely off, and I've showed it in other older videos how to do it that way, but for me, I think it's just easier to grab the whole thing and keep your fingers back there. Just get used to that feel. Keep your fingers back there while you're centering. Once you feel comfortable, just let it down. And you may not totally feel comfortable, but it's where it's at, and it looks just great. Doesn't matter if you're a little off or crooked, because we're going to cover that all up in just a minute. Now, using my bone folder and finger. All right. And be gentle. Most of the time now I only cover the hinge, but because we're going to be covering this whole back side with our page, and I didn't want to use pattern paper. I just didn't want to waste it because you don't even see it. That's why we're doing the whole piece in black. Get that down. Any spots you need to do. I pushed it. If you're using artisan, you can push it like that and not worry about anything cracking. Okay, let's move to our pages. Now, one thing I did show you on here was that you're scoring at 1/2 and 1, but I also want to show you something else. So your page is 6.5 inches wide, 11.25 long. One of these are longer than the other. So this one, when you measure it, is at 3 inches. This one is at 3 1/8. So I put the wider, and we're going to be measuring it again. It's going to change when we score. But, so if you want to make this page again, all you do is put this on your scoreboard. Now, you need 1 inch on the sides. You need that 3. Let me get here better. Maybe it's 3 1/4. 3 1/4. And then you're going to just cut your slits. That's 1 inch. Cut your slit. Another inch. Cut a slit. But like I said, we drew up the pattern, and this is from our designer, and we thought it would be really special for you guys to have for your Craftology box. We're going to score though 1/2, and when you score it 1 inch, you're going to come up on that line, that cut line. Don't let it scare you. 1/2 and 1. Just all 4 sides. 1/2 and 1. And 1/2 and 1. And we're not going to worry about top and bottom yet. We'll worry about that once we get it all together, and I'll show you before you put it down into your book. And we're going to repeat 1/2 and 1. 1/2 and 1. And 1/2, 1, and our final 1/2 and 1. These squares, well, the mint didn't help. We're going to take those out. All 4 of them. Top and bottom. Now, before we do any folding, there's one thing we're going to check something. I want you to take one side and fold it in. All and then fold your second one. Now, one thing to look for, if it's hanging over the edge, and they might be, not a lot we could do about that. We're actually going to trim this. I'm going to trim just these two sides a hair. I'm just going to put it so it's in the cutter. So you don't want to take too much off. Just a hair. So you're going to want to do it to both pieces. Since we did one and we know it's going to hang over a little bit. We don't want it to. And like I said, I'm just putting it barely into my cutter, so you'll want a sharp blade, of course. But you're going to bend this to the back, so it won't be seen. Just like that, 1/16 of an inch. Such a small amount. Come on, cutter. I'm going to do this one on my big cutter. It's wanting to fight with me. Okay. And if it doesn't bother you, then definitely you don't have to do that. So we're going to fold both score lines back and then the top one towards you. Now, see how mine's crooked, and that's okay. Like I said, no one's going to see our accordions. But you don't want them sticking over the edge. Now, while this is folded under, you can now check and see if you need to straighten up your lines. And you might want to just miter that in a hair. Nothing major, just a hair at the top. And let's fold the bottom. Same way, fold in. And now we're going to check these sides. That definitely is sticking over that edge, and it won't look nice. And then towards me. And I don't know why I didn't need to do this bottom and the top. It's just, it's got to be either the way the pattern was made, but it shouldn't. I don't know, to be honest with you. It just happened that mine was hanging over, so I trimmed them. And then towards you. Now, if it happens to hang over, oh, did I go through there? If it happens to hang over, go ahead and trim the top and bottom too. Now, I did a little trick. I already put a 1/2 inch on my scissors. So I marked my scissors with a permanent marker, and then I'm just going to open this, put it at 1/2 inch, and trim it. We're just going to cut right into that score line, approximately 1/2 inch. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. But I thought with the video, it'd be better if I have it marked. So we're going to prepare this one so we can continue working. Grab my clothespins. And what we're going to do with this here, I'm going to push this out. I'm going to put this down, and then this will sit on top. So you can check it now. If anything's hanging over the edge, you can definitely fix it. On top of your accordions, just add your adhesive. Clean it up. And it's not going to hold this part down, and that's, you don't want it to. So once again, kind of fits like a puzzle. Sits on top. So basically, just fold that. I'm trying to get an angle here. Fold this out and just fold that over. Let's add our adhesive. Whoops. That's why your clothespins are a great helper. slip it right through there. We'll do some more burnishing, but we're going to let that sit and dry, and we're going to do the same thing with our second page. Flying through the air. And yeah, don't pull it if you can help it. You want it to be clean. We already trimmed the page, so we should be good to go. Mitering now. Pretty close, let me just bend it back. Fold both score lines again. Missed a little piece hanging over the edge. Okay. Let's do the short ends and also miter anywhere you need to miter. And I'll cut our slits. Sorry, I have the door propped halfway and she won't open the door. There you go. I have a big Newfie mix, but she's the gentle giant. And she won't attempt to do anything that might be, you know, that she knows has gotten Wilbur in trouble. And she's very cautious and gentle. She wouldn't even push the door open. Wilbur, yeah, he would have had it pushed open in an instant. Okay, once again, just fold that back. Oh, let's get our clothespins off of this guy. If you used art glitter glue, it should be dry. And I need to trim and clean this one up. So anything that's sticking kind of over, you can do that. And whoops, you'll be glad you did. Just check your edges. Okay. Fold that right back. I need to furnish that a little bit more. See, mine isn't straight. It doesn't look perfect. And that's okay. You just don't want things sticking over the edge. We're going to burnish these some more so they lay flatter. I have a sore thumb still. I'm being dry. There we go. and it doesn't like to work very well. Now I'm just going to go over everything, burnish it, especially right here. We'll be burnishing it again. It will be sticking up right now, and you're going to be like, oh, it looks terrible. It doesn't, I promise. Oh, no, that's the slit. It's supposed to be there. Oh, no, I stuck my bone folder through. No, I did not. Okay, let's grab our page. Oh, let's not grab our page. I want you to now look at something. This top portion to your first slit, you have two different sizes. One is just shy of 2 inches, and one is almost 2 1/4. And that's what you're going to make sure you do. These need to be going the same direction. You need to have the small at the top and the large at the bottom. Okay? Because they need to be the same, basically. And you can also take a pencil and just put a B for bottom. And that way you'll know, because your pencil will show up. And then putting them together or measuring them, but your bottom is just a hair bigger. And it doesn't matter what side we start on. I'm just going to start with the right hand side, and we're going to match it to the edge of the book, to the outside edge. So you'll have, no, it's about not quite an 1/8 at the top and the bottom. Clothespins are going to come in handy again. Why did I put those away? So just keep it on the outside edge, and then you can put your fingers right inside there and bring it to the other side of your matting, wherever that lands, or just about to the edge here. I'm checking my placement top and bottom. I'm going to throw my clothespins on the corners. Hold this down so that you don't mess up your pages. Bone folder should fit right in there. Do not push hard. Push in, or you will go through your floor line. And let's do it to the other side. Again, checking your top and your bottom. Turning it sideways because it's a lot easier to line up when you have a shorter distance to look across, I think. Okay, I pretty much want to try and match my pages. Oh goodness. Just don't pick it up when it's still wet. Oh, there we go. No, I got mine on wrong. I need to come up. You know, pay attention here. I'm surprised that glitter glue actually gave me some leeway there. have to get in there and put some more glue, but we'll find out in a moment. I think we're pretty good. And if you have like a spatula or another bone folder that you can just kind of get in there and check your slats that nothing's stuck down. Top and bottom. Check mine since I kind of overworked my glue there. Looks good. Remember that 6-inch piece? Have my spine piece, which isn't the full 12 by 12, because I cut it down to what Kim, if you're following hers, what she will have left. The only difference is, remember, we have our decision here. Do you want family night? I used the family night, or would you like one of the others? Because any of them will go. They're all really cute. So I might, you know, I was thinking too, a family dinner would be really cute, and then you could have a menu. You could have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. A lot of times there's a day we do just leftovers, so you definitely could have a menu that rotates and be, you know, you can rotate it, make extra cards, and then rotate them. The kids can say, "What's for dinner?" and you can say, "Look in the book." That would be cute. But I think I want to use, and they lived happily ever after. So just let's change it from family night, but it'll be identical to everything else. And they lived happily ever after. I think that'd be cute. So that means I want to use this side. Okay, let's cut our matting. Let me give you those sizes. Your mat size is going to be 4 1/2 by 9 1/4. So I did 4 1/2 by 9 1/4 for the front and the back. And I'm going to double check. Yep. Perfect. So you're going to cut 2 pieces. I'm going to cut it from this side, and then I'm going to cut this. Like I said, you only need a 6-inch piece because Kim will be using the other half. We're sharing. So I'll cut this one first by 9 1/4 by 6 1/2. And you know what I just found? A score tape sheet. Told you I'd find it. Nine 1/4 by 4 1/2. Sorry, I think I told you 6 1/2. It's 4 1/2. So now I'll cut this one, leaving my cut apart and craft. So I cut 4 1/2 first, and then 9 1/4 for the back. For my spine, it's 1 1/4, and I want one for the inside and for the outside. So I'm just going to cut 2 of them. At 1 1/4, and then I'll cut 9 1/4. I did not ink. I did not do any distress ink on this, and I'll show you why. The core is white; it doesn't show, and I just didn't think the distress ink looks on a small project that's all white, but you can distress ink your edges. I didn't, like I said, I only did it on the cut apart. And I did do it on these guys. But I did not do the cover because of the white, and I did not want. I just didn't. So make sure you have your top and your bottom where it belongs. Okay. We will come back and do all the embellishing after we do the inside. I know, I thought that'd be cute, but I didn't. Oh, maybe that one is centered pretty good. That is pretty cute. So take your pick. I'll go ahead and just do it like we did in the tutorial, or I did in the original, because that's pretty cute. Also, what a really cute gift to give somebody, like with the new home, or if you've got grandkids and they have game night for their parents. Maybe put some old pictures from your game nights. We did. I remember that, because I remember my brothers fighting with the friends that came over. Because you know, once you get used to, back then in the 60s and 70s, we mostly it was in the 60s. We had, I mean, that's what you did. Families got together for their game night, set up the card table in the living room, and the kids were in the bedroom fighting. Okay, that's kind of how it worked. And but I remember that, and it was just so fun, because my mom had a friend that she was from Italy, of course, being military. She had taught her how to speak English, so she'd come in yelling at us, and she couldn't really speak English, and we kind of did it because it was funny to listen to her yell at us in Italian or Spanish. I can't remember back then when she spoke a couple of different languages, because she came from Italy. Okay, put this down in the center, and then we're going to cut. We're going to cut the big piece that goes here and all the way down. So let me give you another look here. What I did is I took some pieces of scraps. Let me get a hold of this. It's getting frustrating because everything I touch I lose. Okay, the back side is the sodas. So I did put soda on both of those, and then the game board at the bottom. But let me show you. What I did is I went around my paper first, and I cut off all this blue border. So I'll do that on my big cutter. Just go ahead and cut off the blue border. Because I wanted them to match side to side. We're going to cut this at 9, not 9. Right now we're just going to leave it at 12, but we're going to go ahead and cut this the same width. No, I cut this one a little bit longer. Hold on. Why? So it looks like I cut them at 4 3/8. So they are a hair bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take just from this edge in at 4 3/8. And I'll show you how I figured out the rest. So let's go 4 3/8. Grab your book. You have the bottom and you have the top. And So you can do a couple of different things. I started family night right here, and I noticed it after. I could have done family night all the way at the top instead of having the soda bottles, which is the back. So I want to do that on this. I want my family night with this face up here, and then we're going to continue down. Now, if you want it to be exactly like this, you're going to cut it off right to the top of family, and that's where you'll start your 1-inch increments. Now, let's remember our top piece. You're going to cut your first piece at 1 7/8. We need to cut it upside down, and I'm going to go a hair over 1 7/8 so I can get Dad's head in there. And then what happens if we have to trim, we'll trim from the top. And yes, we're going to have to trim from the top to make it fit in there. But I didn't want to cut his face. So I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off. And that's going to bring us more symmetrical, and it's not going to mess with our cutting. So now we want to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7/8 of an inch piece. Because if you measure, these are exactly 1 inch. So we're going to start at 7/8 of an inch. After I cut each one, I'll show you how this will lay out. And we're just going to keep going. So there's my second one. And I'm laying them out with the main reason I don't get these mixed up. There's 4. And 5. Now for the bottom, I just went through the yellow because I'm going to add Dad here in the chair. Oh, and our bottom piece. So don't cut that yet. Our bottom piece is going to be this wider piece, and I believe we cut it right at 2 inches. Nope, 2 1/8. So I need to turn it upside down. And now I've kept that, so if you want to use that for something else. And there's that side. We're going to go ahead and lay this down. We don't want to lose our pieces or mix things up. I'm checking the size. Looks good. You can start from the top and work to the bottom, or whichever you like. So I'm going to start at the top. Again, I did not distress these edges. They're small, and I just didn't want to ink up the white. And then we'll just burnish as we go. We get a smaller. There we go. So when we keep going, you'll start seeing your picture come to life. Like I said, sorry, there is some background noise. I'll go back here just a second and burnish those. Uh-oh, no, I hope I don't have this awful feeling I did something wrong here. Okay, I thought I was short one. I was like, oh no. Put this one to the side. Keep going. Those pop bottles are really cute too. Don't worry if those push in. They do that. And then you just pop them out when we put our tags in there. Let's just take a minute here. Have any adhesive, so we don't have any issues. Just be flat. Okay. It's kind of neat. It's like the blind. And you're seeing it come to life. Or the blinds being open, you know. And the bottom. Okay, there's one half. One half of our storyboard. Now for the right hand side, I wanted to keep this part in there, but then I found using the sticker, it kind of, yeah, covered up. So what I'm going to do is I'm coming over here to this side, and I'm going to get all of as much into here because I really think she's cute too. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 4 3/8. But if you want to keep, that was the other, so the blue will definitely keep it rolling. This will change to the green. Oh, that's the only thing, huh? And then it brings the dinner down to here. But you'll just cut from this edge in 4 3/8, so you'll cut it this way upside down. But I'm going to go ahead and try the green side. And I want to get that in there. So we're going to go 4 3/8. And I want most of the teenager there. So I'll just take it down to the kitty. And once again, if you remember, that was 1 7/8. So I'm going to turn it around this way. Now we're going to cut 5 7/8 of an inch pieces, keeping them in order, unless you're really good at putting them back. I'm not. That's why I like to keep them in order. So 2. My third. Oops. And then, you know, for the bottom, so you kind of have to decide, do you want some of the girl there if you're going to put the kitchen table? I really like that, and I still want to add it. I probably am going to turn this over and use the pop bottle for the bottom, or, yeah. So that's just kind of a decision. Let's put it in our cutter and see where we are. 2 1/8. Now, if you don't want to, let's see if we can maybe, you know, we can change that sticker to her. Fussy cutting, because I did fussy cut around the black. This was hard enough. Let's see here. You can have Dad in his chair, or you can do the dinner table. And it really wasn't that bad. But if we want to keep our girl and then double mat her, she is the same. Oh no, her ponytail's going the opposite direction. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this 2 1/8. And I think I'm going to use the pop bottle. Or you can leave her head there and put the kitchen table. That's what I'm going to do so it matches. So it kind of stays together. So I definitely, yeah. So many choices. And then we'll use the kitchen table, the family eating dinner together, and we will cover, well, we'll see. Actually, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, maybe we'll use Twister. I did use Twister on my first one I made. It was pretty cute. So that's where we're gonna go. think that's why my thumbs are still so dry. It's the paper, the glue, these two. You can see, I got to get some different cream. I'll use at night. I think that looks really cool. I'm so happy with this paper. This collection is adorable. I won't be adding the stickers like I did on the other one, where I added these two, because this is good right here. We really don't want to cover those up. Oops, I got my head camera. Nice heavy paper, so easy to work with. Now for the bottom, the decorations that I did, and you'll want from the black cardstock you used to cut your cover with, you'll want the scrap pieces. And I have mine. So I'm going to use Twister this time. And we're going to put that down at the bottom. And then we'll use the family, not the family, I'll use Dad in the chair. I just love the Dad with the reading the story. You know, this would be a cute place to make a reading log too. I would use a little different on the inside, but okay. Because, or watching TV, maybe your favorite TV shows. Aren't these adorable? Glue just makes those permanent. Okay, we're going to fussy cut a border. And with the right scissors, you can do this. Just need some either fine sewing scissors, you know, thread scissors, or these. We do have the K-Success at countrycraftcreations.com. And until I started using these, I could not fussy cut. Now I can fussy cut all day. Main thing is just let your left hand turn and let your scissors just follow the pattern. Especially when doing a shadow, it doesn't have to be super perfect. I've never seen a perfect shadow. Super, super easy. Super fast. Oh, I don't need any more of that. I'll just put it in my just in case pile. These little legs are what gave me just a hair trouble. So just use the point of your scissors. We'll go back and clean it up in just a moment. Or right now. got too much bulk here. Dad's got a knobby little knee there. You got to go around. Like I said, I'll go back and clean up a few of my edges. And for these images, I did not pop them up. You don't want to be hitting them with your mats, the tags we're making, so I did put them down flat, but they do stick over. So we'll cover a cute little face, but they stick up over, and then your tag will fit down inside. And then you see it, so it's pretty cute. So just mark with your fingers where not to glue. And also make sure you don't get any glue in there. So we'll leave that there for a moment. And the same with Dad. I'm going to put his chair down towards the bottom though, so it looks like he's sitting there. Again, just kind of mark where you don't want glue. Smaller bone folder to get those down. Oops, I'll do the same here. Nope, we're good. Okay, we're going to turn this over. Well, no, let's go ahead and let's do the mounts. And with your measurements, you're going to cut. Now, I'm only going to do one set on camera with you because they're identical. And then you also might have, you know, a different way you want to do it, and depending on what you have left. So we will do, I'll do that one set of tags with you, and then we'll do our cover. So you want to do, these are called your pre-cut slider bases. Oh no, that was this. The pre-cut slider bases. These are the bases that these tags will go into. So these are your tags. And I probably should have put better wording on there. So your tags are these center ones. So you need 2 4 1/4 by 8, 2 4 1/4 by 7, 2 4 1/4 by 12. That you're going to score on the 12-inch side at 6. You want 2 4 1/4 by 10. You'll score that on the 10-inch side, and that will give you your 5-inch tag. Then you need a 2 4 1/4 by 4, and then you'll have the 4 1/4 by 3, your smaller tag. So see, this is my tags, so they're about ready to be matted. And once you cut those, we are going to mat the bottom. I did the matting in white. And then you're going to have your cardstock. Let me grab these. You'll have cardstock left over. Oh, that's my one set. This is my second set. Okay, the cardstock left over is not left over. This is your coordinating colors. So it comes in the red and teal, the green and blue, and what I did is just alternated them. And I'll give you those sizes. So here's all my tags and some leftover white matting. So what I did is cut. I did all the pre-cutting. I just have to grab them. I didn't grab them. I said everything that was laid up here, there it is, was gone missing. 2, and I'm missing 1. 3, 4, 5, 6. My big one's missing. Oh, good night. There it is. Oh, it's not the big one. It's not this one either. That's my second one. Oh, I'll have to cut another one, which is just fine. So you have your big mat, or your biggest tag, which is already covered the back of it. On this one, this is going to be on the other side. Remember, I mentioned we don't have to do them both. But your matting. Okay, I do have that one. You guys, I promise I'm not senile. It's just been one of those weeks, as we all know. I have to see which one's missing here. Okay, let's get our stuff together here. Finally, we have 1. And then I'll give you all your sizes. I am missing the big tall one. And we're also going to be cutting these anyway. So your tallest one, from, you know, it's the same measurements on your, is 8 by 4 1/4. So I need to cut another piece of white. And all of yours is going to be 4 1/4. So our matting is going to be 4 1/8. And I'll give you all of those little measurements here in a second. And I used 3 sheets of the white. And the reason I cut these the full size of the tag is because I wanted to show you, these are also going to be the sizes of our colored cardstock. And if you want these all white, you certainly can. I am going to end up cutting off 1 inch. Actually, I cut off a hair bit more than that. I'm going to cut off 1 inch and 1/8. And then I'm going to put 1 inch on the top here so that it looks like this. And then the back will be solid. At this time, I didn't quite have that yet because this paper was so new, so I just used my artisan cardstock. But let me give you your measurements. So for your first one, it's going to be 7 7/8, and if you want that inch, I'll give you that measurement. So 4 1/8. And the back. So I chose the back to be red, and it's 4 1/8 by 7 7/8. But because at the front I want to add that decorative strip, I'm just going to take 1 inch off. And yes, I do save those because they're good to use on other matting. And then I'll put a 1 inch strip there and the red on the back. So for the next tag, my matting, well, your tag's 7 inches and it's 4 1/8. So I cut mine originally at 6 3/4, but I'm going to cut off 1 1/8. And so the blue piece is 6 3/4 by 4 1/8. Now, if you want to just cut it so that it's the 1 1/8 short, it'll be 5 5/8 by 4 1/8. Now my next piece, that tag is our 6-inch tag. So 5 7/8 by 4 1/8. And I'm using the gold on the back. And full size is 5 3/4. Goes on. Oh, it is. Why is it only 5 3/4 when this is 6? Because I cut it too short, it should be 5 7/8. So I'm only going to take 1 inch off mine. Not 1.5 inches because I had already cut my matting too short. So you want 4 3/4. My phone is going crazy. The ring that a person is at the door, and it's dark outside. So again, 5 7/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, our next tag then is going to be 5 inches by 4 1/4. So my matting and my green is going to be, that's right, 3 3/4, or mine came out 3 5/8 by 4 1/8. Now this is 4 inches by 4 1/4. So if you want to have that into the top, you're going to cut between 2 3/4 and 2 5/8. So more like 2 5/8. So I think this one came out more of a 5/8. You just might need to trim another 1/8 of an inch. And then that blue. And then our little guy here. Right now he is 2 3/4. But we're going to take 1 1/8 off. So it is 1 5/8. Let me give you these really quick. I believe it is 2 5/8. 3 5/8. I don't think, no, 3. No, this one is 3 3/4. 5 5/8. Okay, this tag's got to be, something's wrong. No, okay. The tag looks wrong to me. I don't know why. Do you ever have that? And then your last one, which makes more sense. So it is 6 3/4. Okay, that's how all these guys look. Then from your scraps. Now, I don't have all my paper here, so I'm going to have to get that. But the matting, we need it to be 4 1/8. This was 4 3/8. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down and show you. I went through all my scraps, and you'll do that when you're done. And I just cut them at 1 inch. And I mirrored. So I'd want 1, and then I want 2. So I'll do this to the top, and then the rest of them, you'll need to go through your scraps. Like I said, I don't have any. One will be for my left-hand side, and one's for the right-hand side. So all you do is glue these down. I'm going to move this to the side, and I'm going to move over just to put the top on. And then I'll go back to those guys. So this will sit at the top. And I think that's really cute. It makes it look like it's a kind of like a Polaroid, you know. And I'll save the other one for the other side. So I went through the scraps and just mirrored left and right. Started with the red and put that one on, but we'll go ahead now and I'll mat these with you. I'm going to start with the smallest at the bottom. The only thing I won't do is that 1 inch strip on camera here, since I just did one. very straightforward. And then again, these are the same. Well, no, they're not. We didn't cut that inch and 1/8, so 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. And with all three, you'll just alternate. You'll just turn it front and back to the color you like. And you'll have some left, but you'll need to use all three of your sheets. So front, the back, and then go through with your strips. And that's what you'll do to each one. So let me go down the line starting with the top one. So my top one, 7 7/8 by 4 1/8. Your second one is going to be 6 7/8 by 4 1/8. And then I just did the yellow. 5 7/8 by 4 1/8. 4 7/8 by 4 1/8. And then this one is 4 1/8 by 3 7/8. And they're just in order like so. And because they're just straightforward and matting, and then you can use stickers if you like. Now on this one, see, I didn't do the inside. You certainly can. I just left it for photos, and they get pretty thick. And on the back of a couple, I did use some stickers. This one says memories. I think that's the only one. So these are to give you an idea of the scraps that you'll have left. And I put that there. So I just mirrored back and forth from left to right and added families and memory. So you can go through and get those all done how you like. And once you're done, they'll just fit right inside of your booklet. So I'll use these ones that are done, starting at the top. Now when you first do these, you're going to be like, oh, yes, it's tight. And that bottom, I'll tell you, just might give you a little trouble. So take your smallest one that does go in the bottom and get it in first and kind of push it. Once you use it a couple of times, see, it'll just slide in nicely. Then the records. Now, if you have it doubled, I'm going to wait and put that one in last. And if you have this one that's double, you just kind of, no, this one goes down here from smallest to largest. Trust me, as you use this, it'll straighten up. Oh, see, that one went in really nice, so I'm not worried there. Then I'm missing one size because everything's just everywhere, but that's okay. So this one, there's one that goes here. It's just laying in my pile. But what I did is I then doubled, I put just one edge in and I brought it down here to make it look like a waterfall. And then in my second, I did the same thing. It will loosen up a lot. And so that's what you may have seen in the original walkthrough if you saw a couple of my videos that I was doing live. Just don't pull on it. And you'll be fine. So you can set it like so, or you can definitely just put these in their pocket. I said I'm missing one. I have a ton of stuff over here. So my other long, oh, maybe I wasn't missing it. I'm not, it's right here. Like I said, this is tight. This one is not. This one has already got some stretching out on it. So that's the original one. But the first time, yeah, just kind of, first time or second time you're playing with it and using it, you will have to kind of help those guys. Found them. Almost. This way you can see how I mirrored them and how you can make more. So you can change them out, especially if you're going to do it more like a recipe. That would be really cute. Or family dinner night. Only one I'm missing. Oh, here it is. And I did put stickers. Or if you go to a retreat and you play games, pretty cute, huh? I just love this. I think it makes a really cute folio. So let's do the front. So for the front, we had already decided on our cut apart. We didn't cut it out though. So let's get that. And if you should have some red left from your kit. And if you don't have any red, I mean, if you haven't made Kim's yet, her box, or if you're not going to, because you can use the chipboard for one of the other teams' tutorials when they come out, you can cut just a strip. But right now, let's go ahead and cut out our cut apart that we want to use. And I'm really thinking I want to use that because of the gold this time. And I'll put this here so you can see the family night. But if you already cut it, then you do have game on. And in your kit, you'll have the little pom-poms in this bag because they're going at the bottom. I did ink the edge of this card. And we're going to ow. I'm having one of those clumsy nights. Let's grab our background. And I need to go grab mine. And also, if you have scraps, you should have plenty of scraps of black. We need to matte. We need to matte this. And I did use some foam dots from my stash because you want to really bring that up. And this isn't quite that red. There's two different red patterns. And so it's not really going to matter on your background. I just grabbed this one and I did cut this one at 3 inches wide by 8 inches long. We don't want to waste any of the paper. So you could also wait if you're still working on Kim's project and see what you have left. But I just really thought the red kind of brightened it up. After I cut the 8, oh, I did, yes, I inked the edges of the red because it was really white. That because we're going to cut up the center. I don't measure my center, but it's 1.5, and then I cut up about 1.25 inches. Actually, I'll end up cutting up further because I just let my scissors kind of take the natural shape here, and once it falls off, then you have your pendant. Pendants don't have to be perfect. You could even just cut it as an angle as a pendant. You can do so many different things. And we're going to mat this. So I need a piece of black cardstock that's 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. So we have some black border there, and see how it just pops. And we're going to be using the banner, so that's one thing too. You want to make sure that you have this cut apart down far enough. So I'm actually going to bring it down to the point a little bit more for my banner. But let's go ahead and mat this. And you can do even more layering if you want to add some more colors of different paper other than the red. Now, see the pom-poms? We're going to add those to the bottom, and I just use my score tape and square that. And I'm going to place it right at the bottom. And you're going to notice there kind of is a top and a bottom to this. And you want the back towards you, and you have more than enough. Whoops. Let's stick to everything. But you just want to make sure your pom-poms, are hanging under. Or, yeah, down here at the bottom. And we'll just cut that off, just like you're making a card. You can definitely, use this in another area. And if you have foam tape or foam dots, we're going to add those now. Let's just do some laying down and see exactly where we want stuff to be. These are all from the sticker sheet, and that looks good. So I'm just going to remember that gold. Just have your whatever you need to kind of be your guide, or you can mark it with a pencil. I just use like the row here. I knew the corner was up there by that star, I guess they're called. Remember when kitchens were like this? And those colors? And I'll add glue to the dots so it's permanent. We're going to go this way. Come on down. Now, before we add anything else, let's add the banner. So I'm going to take a piece of cardstock. It doesn't matter what. Here, let's use this so I don't cut into anything. I'm going to use just this bottom. You could use a piece of string. Also, I'm not. I just put this in my cutter right in the groove, and I cut off a really thin piece, and basically it's my faux string, or it's my guide to lay down the banner. And I don't really set out an exact shape unless you want to. I like it to come out different every time. I know, I'm weird, huh? I just take a line of glue, whoops, up over the edge. It's art glitter glue, so cleans up well. And when you lay this very thin piece of paper down, just use your fingers. It'll soften and it'll grab it. Or you can use string. I have a heck of a time using string. I don't know why. Then I cut the end. Make sure there's adhesive on it. And we can grab our banner. And I usually follow pretty much the pattern set forth by the company. And then one thing to look at too, is that going to be too long? Mine is. So we're going to cut it. That was quite a long round piece. I'm adding some adhesive. I'm going to add it here to the end at the top of my string. And just following my sticker sheet here, I'll take the first one. And I'll go as close as I can to the top, and then we'll put something decorative there. Because you don't want it to go over the edge of your book. And from there, you can just keep adding them, or you can go from the center, whatever works for you. And I'm picking up all the glue from my fingers. And again, if it's too long, we're just going to trim it, but looks good. Darn old glue. Now this next one, if you notice, and I had the same issue here, it's a little bit big, but I really want to use it. So you can check your spacing beforehand, which is probably better, or you can put it down. I've got a couple of little spaces there, but that's good opportunity to use these little things right here. Do you see these little dots? And they made them really little this time. I was shocked. So we've got some little, they almost look like enamel dots. So it'd be cute just to add them right in between. We've got some green ones. Oh, we have some records. I'll go with the orange. And I am going to add one right up here. For that up there, I think I'll go with the record. And I did add these game pieces in the blue and the red. Now you've got a couple of different sizes. Let's see, we've got dark blue. We definitely don't want the light blue. You have to kind of look for them. I thought there was a bigger one than that. All the same size? Oh, no, but that's fine. And now we're going to go through our buttons. This is where I use glossy accents. And also you can use, if you have like the Tim Holtz scissors, or you can go pick up one of these just at your Joann's, and it's a button shank cutter. Really easy to use. So I chose a heart, and I chose one of the cards. Did I use a red? Yeah, I used a red one. And I'll use one of the die. And a black card, and then I did choose to use that one. And what I do is I just take the shank and it cuts out the back, but it does fly. And I used some foam dots also on, I'll show you. I have to kind of use my hand so it doesn't go flying. And we're just going to cut off the back. Now these are in the button section. I think it was $3.99. Whoops, that's what I mean. It's dangerous. It was at the button section. years ago, but I know they still have. I have to vacuum those up because Wilbur likes to eat them. And I don't have the same ones as before, and that's just fine. So I put these down here. This is where I use the foam dot, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Placed this one over here. And it's always different, the placement, when you put books together. So you may even want to put one up at top instead. You can definitely lay those out anywhere you like. And my glossy accents. Oh, I did put a foam dot because the foam dot, I'm just going to take one and cut it. The foam dot really helps this adhere. That sticks pretty well. And your glossy accents that I've got in this bottle. And I also put one on the heart. Let's put it on the back. And my playing card, I'm just going to add glossy right there. And that's what I did here. Where it landed is kind of where I let it fall. Oh, goodness. Oh, that was lucky, because glossy accent definitely makes a mess. So again, I'm going to use a bigger one. The reason I did the foam dot here, you should be able to put a full one, is because I overlapped it. And you need it sitting up a little bit. Oops, wrong adhesive. It needs to have some room. There we go. Okay. Then you can go along and see what you need to fill up in spaces. So I think for the They Live Happy, I put movies on that one. And they're reading a book, but I think I'll still go with the movies up here at the top, and I just tuck it underneath my cut apart. And then the Making Memories from our sticker sheet is up here at the top, but you know what? This may not work on here because I did get it too close. And I tucked it under, so definitely don't want that. Let's go with Precious Memories. I'm going to bring that out here to the side. Albums never turn out the same. So I have Family, Craft Night, and Game Night. But as you can see, I really don't have the same space. And all those little words were right on here. They're the pennants up here. So we have Craft Night. And again, if you want to add them, I'm not going to be putting them here on the side because let's see. No, let's bring them down here in the center. Craft Night, Game Night, and let's go Family Night here. And Family Night, add some of that green. There's our cover for the side. Now, Kim also used this. We kind of didn't coordinate in time. So, she did use it on the box. So, this would be a really good place if you, let me lay this out. I did back it on the black cardstock, but she did use it on her boxes. So, I'm definitely going to use this just to kind of change it up on this one, since we coordinated pretty good. We just didn't coordinate on the spine. And I did pop it on the foam dots. Now I'm going to have to go back and fix that one, this side, because I knew that was going to be a hard turn. There we go. And we'll just round those corners. Hopefully, there we go. Just fix all of those. Why is it after I get the glue on, then I notice that? Okay. Pretty much in the center. They're both really cute. Let's do the back. So the back had to have Mom on there. We have Dad on the front, so we have Mom. These sticker sheets are, the sticker sheet's the cutest. Absolutely the cutest. And then Kim will use the chipboards on her box because you need something super sturdy for there. Move Mom up just a hair. Now, how cute is that? Champion Family Game Night. And everything's drying, so I'm gonna be gentle. There you go. We are all finished. Again, you'll have your clips. These do work as a great closure at the top. Let me show you. You can put them here. All I did was tie the black and white ribbon through there. So that's what this was made to be used with. So you have a nice closure. It can also go at the top like I showed in the beginning. And then it's a great closure, and then they're handy to use if you want to go through and use it for like a clipboard when you're keeping score for your games. And then it will fit in the top of your box that you'll make with Kim. Excuse me. And it, oh, and I forgot to mention, she also used the banners. So that will be something if you want to cut with your paper, or you can change it. You get to choose there. And oh, she did the same thing. I didn't even notice those little dots. How cute is that? But this will fit up in that top. So you have lots of fun projects. Be watching the YouTube channels for Bobby Weaver and also Lori Thomas, LMS Creations, and she'll be creating, and Kathy Lee will be creating on her YouTube channel using this collection. Their tutorials will be up in about 3 or 4 days. They follow behind Kim and I. That gives you time to, look at the different tutorials and see what exactly you want to make. And I hope you enjoy this. I know I really enjoyed this project. I made 4 of these because I couldn't get enough of them. And be sure to show us on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations what you made. And we do have a few of these box subscriptions left. They are a subscription and they come out every other month. So this one is shipped, but we have 5 left. So there are 5 in stock. And when you sign up for the subscription, then you'll get your next box in May. And then it will come, like I said, every other month thereafter. So on the website, countrycraftcreations.com, please be sure to read the description on how the subscription box works, because it is a sign up, and then it comes out every other month. And you don't want to miss this one. Like I said, we have a few left. You don't want to miss it. It's so cute. Thanks, everybody. Good night.